In 358 BC, along the Macedonian coast in northern Greece, a storyteller named Iolaus from Athens finds himself in the clutches of pirates. To stall for time, he spins the tale of his legendary uncle, Hercules. Born to Zeus, the supreme god, and a mortal woman named Alcmene, Hercules faced Hera's wrath, the queen of Zeus, who deemed him an affront. Hera sought his demise, yet Hercules inherited immense strength akin to his father's. Upon reaching adulthood, the gods tasked Hercules with 12 labors. Completion of these labors would grant him peace from Hera's persecution. Hercules confronted formidable foes like the Hydra, the Erymanthian boar, and the Nemean lion, whose impenetrable hide required Hercules to rely on sheer might, conquering it barehanded. However, the pirates remained unconvinced by Iolaus' account, dismissing it entirely. Fate intervenes as Hercules himself arrives, adorned with the lion's impenetrable hide. Unfazed, the pirates, numbering 40 strong, face off against Hercules, believing their sheer numbers to be an advantage. Little do they realize, Hercules' prowess allows him to engage multiple adversaries simultaneously. Furthermore, he's not alone. His allies stand by his side, ready for the impending clash. The band of mercenaries comprises the seer Amphiaraus from Argos, the cunning thief Autolycus from Sparta, the fierce warrior Tydeus hailing from Thebes, and the skilled Amazon archer Atalanta from Scythia. This formidable crew effortlessly overpowers the pirates, liberating Iolaus from captivity. As they tally the heads for their pay, Autolycus advises Iolaus to embellish Hercules' tale further for better credibility. Meanwhile, Amphiaraus receives a prophetic vision from the flames, foretelling an unusual alliance between a lion and a crow amidst a battlefield strewn with bodies. Later, the victorious company heads to a tavern to revel in their triumph. Hercules confides in Autolycus, expressing his desire to depart for distant lands in pursuit of tranquility, taking Tydeus along due to his ability to manage his intense fury. Abruptly, the tavern falls into hush as soldiers escort Princess Erginia of Thrace inside, inviting Hercules and his crew to the palace to hear her father's proposition, offering a substantial sum in gold. Iolaus discerns the raven emblem on the guards' shields, contrasting Hercules' lion symbol, echoing Amphiaraus' prophecy. Upon reaching the palace, Hercules notices a throng of refugees within the walls. General Cytocles, commander of the Thracian army, greets them, wearing a displeased expression at Hercules' presence, while Erginia's son Areus, an ardent admirer familiar with all Hercules' tales, warmly welcomes them. Ascending the palace steps, Hercules reminisces about an episode from 3 years prior when he dispatched a group masquerading as a Hydra, a mere bunch of men donning lizard-like helmets, for King Eurystheus of Athens. The king hailed him a hero before a roaring crowd chanting his name. However, the recollection darkens as it segues into haunting images of his slain wife and children, prompting Hercules to push aside the distressing memories and focus on the present. The group is received by Lord Codys, the reigning monarch of Thrace, who taunts Amphiaraus for his limited foresight, belittles Atalanta's abilities based on her gender, only to be swiftly proven wrong as Atalanta skillfully disarms the guards by shooting the helmets off their hands. Lord Codys extends an invitation for dinner, revealing the nation's plight, a raging civil war with a merciless warlord named Rhesus, rumored to command an army of centaurs. He showcases the influx of refugees fleeing villages scorched by Rhesus, highlighting his dwindling army, primarily comprised of farmers. Codys and his daughter appeal to Hercules, emphasizing the dire need for peace in the country, eventually persuading him to accept the daunting task. The ensuing day, Hercules and his team commence the arduous task of training the newly enlisted farmer soldiers. Their initial attempt at forming a shield wall proves ineffective, displaying vulnerabilities that need addressing. In a subsequent meeting, Codys reveals intelligence gathered by his scout Phineus, indicating Rhesus's imminent assault on the Bessi tribe in central Thrace within 6 days. Codys urges an immediate march to intercept Rhesus before he advances further. Hercules expresses reservations, stressing the necessity for additional training time, but Codys remains adamant, insisting on marching the following day. Later that evening, amidst aiding Atalanta in evading Cytocles' unwanted advances, Hercules catches young Areus sneaking around, observing Tydeus who sleeps, shackled to a chariot. Areus nearly disturbs Tydeus, prompting Hercules to intervene and explain Tydeus' tragic past. He was discovered by Hercules in a bestial state, scarred by unfathomable trauma, rendering him mute and haunted by nightly torment. Despite this, Hercules reveres Tydeus as his most steadfast warrior. After guiding Areus away from the scene, Hercules introduces him to Erginia, who dedicates herself to healing in the hospice after losing numerous physicians. Hercules bestows Areus with the Nemean lion's tooth, a gesture implying it should have been a gift for his own departed children, before departing. The following day arrives with the army preparing to march, and amidst the soldiers, Hercules discovers Iolaus, determined to fight alongside them. Hercules gently reminds him of his role as a storyteller rather than a warrior, directing him to join Codys in the chariot. Together, they set out for Bessi. Upon reaching the village, a grim realization dawns: their arrival is too late. Rhesus had already ravaged the settlement, leaving destruction in his wake, resembling the ominous scene foreseen by Amphiaraus. A peculiar sight greets them amidst the carnage. While some bodies display signs of decay, others remain oddly pristine. Suddenly, these seemingly lifeless figures spring to life, launching an unexpected assault. It becomes evident that it was a carefully laid trap all along. Mistakenly believing the Bessi tribe to be under Rhesus's control, Hercules swiftly commands for a shield wall to safeguard Codes, as he and his team engage in combat. The tribal leader challenges Hercules to a direct confrontation, prompting Hercules to stage an illusion that Iolaus can exploit through his storytelling prowess. With finesse, Hercules snaps the tip of one of Atalanta's arrows. As the tribal leader approaches, Hercules seemingly strikes him with a mere punch, using the arrow fragment to create the appearance of a fatal blow. This ruse instills a sense of divine favor among the army, inspiring belief in the god's intervention. The ensuing battle erupts, with Hercules' team striving to eliminate as many tribal warriors as possible. However, the sheer numbers overwhelm them, breaching the shield wall. To counter this, Hercules and Amphiaraus devise a simple yet effective plan. They retrieve their chariots, maneuvering them in circles around the shield wall, crushing and clearing a path amidst the enemy ranks. Seizing this opportunity, the remaining soldiers charge forward. Recognizing imminent defeat, the tribesmen flee, leaving no sign of Rhesus, though an enigmatic figure lurks in the distance. Acknowledging the substantial loss of half his army, Hercules attributes the failure to Codes, highlighting his earlier warnings about the inadequately prepared farmers. Codes concedes, agreeing to grant Hercules more time for training. Meanwhile, General Siticles harbors intentions of retribution against Phineus for leading them into the trap, but Autolycus intervenes, assuming charge of the scouts and cautioning Phineus against further errors. Shortly after, Princess Erginia arrives with healers, escorting her to Hercules' private tent to tend to his concealed injuries, shielding the revelation that he bleeds like an ordinary mortal from wounds sustained in battle. In a moment of respite, Princess Erginia leaves Hercules to rest in his tent. As he drifts into slumber, he is haunted by a haunting recollection, a vivid memory of his wife and children's lifeless forms, his hands stained with blood, and King Eurystheus exiling him from the country instead of executing him, condemning him to a lifetime of remorse. Hercules awakens from this tormenting nightmare, startled by the giggles of children nearby. Investigating the source in the forest, he visualizes his deceased family amidst the tribal corpses, devoured by a three-headed dog, Cerberus. Preparing to confront the beast, Hercules is jolted back to reality by the sudden appearance of Tydeus, grounding him from his illusions. Come morning, Amphiaraus discerns Hercules' turmoil, recognizing it as a recurring struggle. He advises Hercules to confront this final challenge, facing the beast, to seek inner peace. However, Hercules dismisses it as a descent into madness. While engrossed in their private discussion, Princess Erginia approaches the rest of the team, seeking to uncover the truth behind the circulating rumors. They reveal to Princess Erginia that the truth remains elusive. Hercules was discovered alone with his family's lifeless bodies, devoid of any recollection. Throughout his exploits, Hercules displayed compassion toward each member of his team, earning their unwavering loyalty. His exceptional abilities led people to question his mortality, and the team, in solidarity, perpetuated tales to assist them in securing employment. They suspect Hercules might have suffered from the blood rage, a common affliction clouding warriors' minds. Consequently, Hercules and his team rigorously train Codes' army, equipping them with replicas of Hercules' armor and weapons, teaching various combat techniques. Eventually, they succeed in forming an impenetrable shield wall, a feat even Tydeus cannot breach. Meanwhile, Iolaus clandestinely observes and trains in seclusion. When Phineus returns with fresh intelligence revealing Rhesus's proximity near Mount Asticus, with an alleged army of centaurs, Hercules decides to confront him there to prevent further encroachment. Though the forest's terrain may impede chariots, Hercules devises a plan. Regrettably, Amphiaraus cannot foretell the outcome, but he foresees his imminent death within a week. Days later, the army, primed for battle, arrives at Mount Asticus, only to find no visible enemy encampment. To their surprise, Rhesus's army materializes on the horizon. As they draw nearer, it becomes evident that they aren't centaurs, but a group of horse-mounted men creating an optical illusion by positioning themselves against the sun. Rhesus arrives alongside Phineus, who has been covertly working for the enemy. Codes is pressured to surrender, but he staunchly refuses, and both factions prepare for the impending battle. Codes' army readies their shield wall and releases their flanks. Unexpectedly, Atalanta and her archers emerge from the forest on chariots, launching a surprise ambush with flaming arrows, disrupting the enemy's advance. During the fierce battle, as fiery arrows rain down, Amphiaraus, seemingly resigned to his fate, remains untouched by any projectile. The combat intensifies, with Rhesus's numerically superior army facing off against Hercules' better organized soldiers. Despite the odds, Hercules' forces gain the upper hand, causing Rhesus's soldiers to flee. Rhesus, however, chooses to confront Hercules directly, a decision that swiftly leads to his defeat as Hercules subdues him effortlessly. Returning triumphant with Rhesus in captivity, Codys initially subjects Rhesus to public humiliation. However, Hercules, moved by compassion, assists Rhesus. In a poignant moment, Rhesus confides in Hercules, revealing that it was Codys who orchestrated the conflict by poisoning Ergenia's husband, the true king. During the celebratory banquet, Rhesus, displayed as a captive, receives mistreatment from Codys, who forbids Princess Ergenia from offering him water. Subsequently, during Codys' coronation, uniting the fractured Thrace under his rule, Ergenia reveals to Hercules the truth behind Codys' malevolence. She explains that Codys manipulated her into cooperating by threatening harm to her child if she resisted. Despite Ergenia's plea for Hercules to take Ares with them when they depart, Hercules declines, moments before General Siticles interrupts them, informing Hercules of Codys' search for him. Confronting Codys, Hercules accuses him of betrayal, but Codys dismisses it, ridiculing the mercenaries' newfound conscience after they had always been motivated by gold. Codys, revealing his aspirations for his own empire, offers Hercules leadership of his army. Hercules declines the offer, receiving the agreed-upon payment before being dismissed. Arriving at their chariots, Hercules passes his payment to Autolycus, expressing his determination to remain and save Thrace. Although Hercules anticipates his team's departure with their rewards for a better life, Atalanta reminds him that their allegiance is not out of debt, but stems from their strong familial bond. Despite Hercules' assumption that the team would depart, they unanimously choose to stand by his side except for Autolycus, who departs with the gold, dismissing their decision as madness. Sneaking back into the palace, they are met by General Siticles and his soldiers, who disarm and apprehend them. Meanwhile, Siticles accuses Ergenia of conspiring with Hercules to take Ares away from Codys, leading to Ergenia's capture. Codys seizes Ares from Ergenia, who in a desperate attempt tries to reach out to Hercules for help. In secret, Ares returns the Nemean lion's tooth to Hercules before being forcibly taken back by Codys. While attempting to rescue Ares, Hercules is subdued and awakens later, chained to a wall, and encounters what he thought was Cerberus, 3 wolves. As his vision clears, he realizes they are familiar. These wolves belong to King Eurystheus, who arrives with Codys, unveiling their collaboration to rule Greece together. Hercules gradually recollects his fragmented memory. Cerberus had been an illusion of his mind, and it was these wolves that attacked his family 3 years ago after Eurystheus drugged Hercules. Eurystheus admits his role, driven by insecurity over people's reverence for Hercules over himself, viewing Hercules as a threat to his authority that needed eliminating. In a pivotal moment, Codys, recognizing the peril Hercules poses as someone devoid of ambition, orders Ergenia's execution. Hercules, feeling powerless, receives a much-needed boost when Amphiaraus urges him to believe in himself. This stirring reminder reignites Hercules' resolve, and with sheer determination, he breaks free from his chains, rushing to rescue Ergenia. As Hercules confronts Codys and the others, they retreat, leaving him to face the wolves under their command, while Ergenia seizes the executioner's axe, utilizing it to unlock the cages. Despite sustaining injuries from the fierce struggle with the wolves, Hercules showcases his unwavering strength, gradually overpowering each one until he defeats the last, with the Nemean lion's tooth, culminating in the completion of his final labor. Ergenia liberates the imprisoned party, seizing the opportunity to arm themselves with discarded weapons left behind by the soldiers. Hercules demonstrates his immense strength once more by lifting a metal door, facilitating their escape from the dungeon. As they ascend, encountering soldiers attempting to impede their progress, the group bravely fights their way through, thwarting their assailants. When faced with a flaming lance aimed at them, Amphiaraus, resigned to his fate, extends his arms in acceptance. However, Hercules intervenes, using the lance to eliminate the soldier, saving his longtime friend from certain peril. In a decisive turn, as the rest of the party handles the remaining soldiers, Hercules confronts Eurystheus. Eurystheus offers excuses, claiming he was manipulated by Codys, attempting to assert his authority as a king, and even offering Hercules wealth. Unmoved by these pleas, Hercules seizes Eurystheus, throws him onto the throne, and exacts revenge by fatally stabbing him with his own dagger. With this act, Hercules finally avenges his family and seeks closure. However, Hercules is suddenly ensnared by a whip around his neck wielded by Siticles, who prepares to kill him. Unexpectedly, Iolaus ambushes Siticles from behind, fatally stabbing him. Acknowledging Iolaus as a warrior, Hercules reunites with him and the party, who have successfully rescued Rhesus. Together, they depart from the palace but are halted by Codys and his army, holding Ares hostage. Codys threatens to execute Ares unless Hercules surrenders. At that moment, Autolycus returns and intervenes, causing the soldier holding Ares hostage to fall dead by a thrown knife. Ares rushes to his mother's side as another skirmish ensues. Tydeus protects Ares from incoming arrows, but succumbs to fatal injuries after dispatching most of the archers. As the others create a barrier of fire using knocked-over braziers, Hercules lifts Tydeus, witnessing his final moments where Tydeus utters his only word ever spoken in his life, Hercules. With Cody's army charging, Hercules resorts to using his immense strength to topple a colossal statue of Hera. The shattered pieces crush numerous soldiers, including Cody's, plunging him into the abyss. With Cody's dead, the soldiers, acknowledging Hercules' might, kneel and chant his name, embracing him as their new leader.